Welcome. I owe you an email. You're talking to me or you're talking to somebody else? Probably somebody else. Friends, I'm super excited for today's Shop Talk. If you are new here, welcome. If you are coming back, welcome back. Shop Talk it's something I've been doing for a while, but I'm now giving a name to, and it's where we come and talk all things entrepreneurship, personal growth, and playing big. For those that are new here, hello. My name is Lindsay Johnson, aka the Rad Connector, and I teach service-based entrepreneurs how to get customers, how to make money, and how to think so much bigger and play so much bigger in their businesses. I get real excited working with y'all to help you understand how to get visible, get in front of the people who are already looking for you, and let them know you exist and blow shit up. Oh yeah, I forgot I'm not supposed to swear in the first few minutes of a YouTube video. I'm getting better at that. Today we're going to be talking about neurodiversity, burnout, and playing small. Specifically, how neurodiversity can lead to burnout, how burnout can lead to playing small, and how neurodiversity can lead to playing small, and some of the things that we can do about it. And as always, it's going to be me doing the bulk of the talking, but come and hang out in the chats. Give me your thoughts. Ask me your questions. I'll ask you questions. Let's get into it. I am in love with the way that our chat blows up and the way you are supporting each other and engaging with me. I was doubtful on whether or not I could have the same impact on YouTube Live where it's just me talking to the chat with y'all versus being on Zoom. And I'm so pleased to see that it is actually working really effectively. And I love how y'all have your own little world in the chat where you guys are hanging out. And it means I get to live stream instead of keeping it in a bubble inside of Zoom. So I'm loving it. Why the fuck not? I don't know what you're responding to, but I'm here for it. Hang on, I want to quickly change. There we go. Now we can see that a little bit better. Perfect. What are you responding to, Emery? Oh gosh, better than yesterday. Yeah, it's been intense. I know for those who read the email I sent out yesterday, thank you for your response. I only had one person respond in a really interesting way and told me they were going to see herself out of my community and off of my email list. And remember, friends, what is the saying? If you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything, right? Like, or if someone hates you, you know you're doing something right. Just a reminder that in a world that is becoming ever more divided, let's say, where it's no longer a difference of opinion, it is a difference of whether human rights should exist or not. It's okay to take a stand, to take a strong stand. And if people are not here for that, that's okay. If you all saw the email, you know what I stand for. And I actually recorded it into a podcast that I'm going to put out later today so you can hear me saying the things that I stand for and also why I think entrepreneurship is a really important solution to a lot of the things that are going on now and what that gives us through entrepreneurship. And in fact, if you want, I'm happy to kind of read a little bit of my email and kind of share my thoughts on that. Hang on. Why no swearing the first few minutes of YouTube video? Okay, now I'm not monetized yet. We got a ways to go. Friends, we have to get to 4,000 hours of watch time. We're at about 450. So we're just over 10% of the way there. But when we get to our 4,000 hours of watch time, I'm able to have a monetized channel, which means ads and things will be played on my videos. But I cannot swear within the first little while or I will get what they called demonetized. I'm going to quickly grab my phone. I know, friends, that we've been having some issues with some of the links. I've been attempting to automate this process as much as possible where you can save your seat, get a reminder in your calendar, get a link. And it's been a learning curve for me to figure out the best way to make that happen. And some of y'all have been getting broken links. Please remember, if you have a calendar invite in your calendar for one of our YouTube lives and that link is broken, it's not working, just come to my YouTube channel. Just come here, go onto the live section. I think you can just literally see it as soon as you come to my channel and join us live. Oh boy. What does this say? I just try not to be swearing like a pirate all the time. Arr, fuck that. F is my second favorite? No, the F word is my second favorite F word. Anyways. I love that stand you took. I know I want to stick with people sharing the same values. Exactly. And I think it's important that everybody, I'm not going to say one way is right and one way is wrong. And you're going to build your business and you're going to show up show up in the world in a way that works for you, that feels safe for you, that feels authentic for you. For me, that is having a very values-forward business style of working, style of selling and marketing, right? Style of creating content and showing up. And I'm very much, leadership is one of my core values. If you ever go to my About page, you'll see it there. Leadership is one of my core values. And leaders stand up, leaders speak up, right? Leaders model. And even if we get it wrong, leaders model getting it wrong and fixing or correcting or growing or learning, right? So I'm a values forward, leadership forward type of person. Always have been, always will be. Could be the tism, but I just can't keep my mouth shut. You joined the $9 membership because that email. Thank you. Do you know what's so funny? Is it Slavara? I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. A ton of people came and joined the membership yesterday, and I was like, was that because of the email? So again, it was wonderful. Like, welcome. I was saying to a friend, the water's warm. Come on in. Like, we're so delighted to have you. And friends, remember, taking a stand, right? That is, you're calling to your people, you're calling to your community. And I talked about in point number 4, community is all there is. Community is what will save us, right? What will get us through. Oh, wow, it's good to know. I'm guessing that's with the links. Yeah. What do we got here going on? Y'all are my people. Yes. I don't want to be breaking bread with folks who don't think my life is worth anything. Feeling that today. Slavara, I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Please let me know. What do you do? What's your business? What are you all about? Give it to me. Yes, it was because of that email. Yeah. Oh, pronounced it perfectly. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Showing your true colors. Yeah. The person yesterday, that again, everybody, because I did a similar email back in March for International Women's Day. And I was just pissed off. I was real pissed off. I was pissed off at the tokenizing of these big corporations around women and inclusivity, but their practices and actions not backing that up. And I was sick of like Boss Babe Pink and we're women, let's do it. And of course I'm non-binary, but still socialized as women, am affected by the same things that impact women. And I just was so frustrated. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to write this email. It was a really long email full of resources and the history of International Women's Day and all these things. And I thought, I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to put this email out. Because my emails are typically pretty light. And I was really nervous. And the feedback y'all sent me, it was like, this is exactly what I need to hear. Because I think it was like a bit of a warrior call, and people were just so excited by it. And again, I did it again yesterday. And it's just a reminder, friends, that your community, if that's the kind of community you want to build, you can build that and you can have these warrior calls and you can have these positions you take and these values that you share. And even though it is really scary, yes, I get scared too. It is really scary and it's really vulnerable, right? Oh, I think I have my breakfast crumbs on me. Even though all those things are true, you can still put yourself out there and people will respond. And the person that responded yesterday in a weird way made this leap from if I believe in human rights, I should believe in the rights of babies in the womb, which of course, and that people on the left don't believe in that, and that she was going to leave. And I thought, what an interesting leap this person made, because of course my email did not talk about abortion rights, which I am pro healthcare, which is abortion is healthcare. I am pro choice. You make the choice that's best for you. I am pro the doctors being in charge of your health, not the government. Right away. But I didn't talk about any of that in the email. It was about entrepreneurship and why it matters. And it was just this reminder that people are going to always hear what you say through their lenses, their beliefs, their paradigms, their fears. And so we cannot take it personally when somebody projects their stuff onto us. And as a leader, you will get people who will project their stuff onto you. It's just going to happen. And that is a part of stepping into leadership, is recognizing when it's other people's stuff and not ours. Now, that being said, I do love taking those opportunities to reflect and go, what is my beliefs in this? What are my feelings in this? Did I say that without meaning to say it? The biggest thing, did I cause harm without intending to? Where do I need to correct, right? So it's still good to reflect, but just understand that other people's projections, they're going to get put on you. That doesn't mean you have to take them on and wear them. Okay. And I also didn't respond because she said she's seeing herself out. Great. Wonderful. Adios. I don't need to respond, right? Okay, I want to hear what you do. You mentor folks who need some spiritual guidance in their life and help finding some focus. I do this mainly through manifestation teaching and divination through my own spiritual practice. Wonderful. Well, welcome. We are excited and honored that you're here. So friends, let's get into what we're going to talk about today. I wanted to talk about, as I said, neurodiversity, burnout, and how those two things can lead to us playing small. So first of all, I would love to hear in the comments if neurodiversity is something that you identify with. And understanding that neurodiversity, we often think things like ADHD, right? But it can also include things like autism spectrum condition. We're shifting from saying autism spectrum disorder because it's not a disorder. It's just the way the brain works. So autism spectrum condition, that can be things like dyslexia, anxiety disorders. It can be depression, right? There are so many forms of neurodiversity. In fact, I don't have the science to back this up, but I kind of believe that there's no such thing as a neurotypical person. I think that there is no norm. I think that there is I don't even want to say spectrum. There is like a processing spectrum or a processing categories in the way our brain processes information. And there is the way that our brain processes information and the way we go through life. But there are some very real things that we deal with and barriers that we face when we're in a world that is geared more towards what would be considered neurotypical. Okay, we're not going to get too heavy. I'm just going to stick with that because it's more than that, but we're going to say neurotypical and what that means in terms of masking and how we show up. So yeah, we got an oh hell yeah. Hey, Just Be, what's up? We've got, yep, autistic here, also suspect ADHD. Yeah, for the longest time, because I've been diagnosed with bipolar forever, and for the longest time, that's what I thought it was. And labels, whatever. But I was reading Unmasking Autism, and it was talking about how people are often misdiagnosed with bipolar or borderline personality disorder, when it's actually autism. And as I've been unpacking that, I'm realizing that is most likely what I got going on. So we're gonna see. But it has been an interesting journey this past few years. Neurodiversity, check. I need a super calm environment to work in, zero distraction for one. Yeah, right. Emery, what is that? 10,000% ADHD over here. It's a huge part of my praxis. Emery, what does praxis mean? Practice as distinguished from theory. Okay. Accepted practice or custom. Okay. So not just a theory, but the way you practice, the way you live your life. Thanks for that. Yes, exactly. It is a thing that I think a lot of folks, when they start sort of unmasking, realizes really is there and is present for them. And where are some of the things that can show up in entrepreneurship and in life in general is we tend to have a more sensitive, what's it called? The rejection sensitivity, right? We tend to be more sensitive to rejection. A part of that is because you're potentially feeling your feelings a lot bigger and a lot deeper. Things feel really magnified for you. It can also just be a lifetime of being literally rejected for who you are and having that extreme reaction. And so it's become almost like a PTSD or a CPTSD. It's like a thing that is just like a trigger that gets hit so easily. So in the world of business, there's going to be a lot of quote unquote rejection, which just means people saying it's not right for me, but we can really internalize that. There can be a lot around, as we know, overwhelm, which can lead to that sort of inertia that When we get overwhelmed, we do nothing. We get stuck. We get frozen, right? And then when that happens, things pile up, right? And then we talk about that depression that comes for neurodiverse people almost as a symptom. Not depression isn't the thing, it's more of a symptom because of all the things piling up, and that stress is just continuing to elevate, which ultimately leads to depression. Because there's some interesting studies right now out there really showing how depression might not actually be like a mental illness as much as a symptom or a symptom more of like the final boss for stress. When we can't cope with stress, the body just shuts down, right? We also get things like sensory sensitivity. I'm like that. I'm a big one like that. Like even this morning, like, because my dad lives with me. I'm a part of his care team. And he was in the kitchen doing stuff. And just the sound of him like making food, like breakfast and coffee, I could feel my stress elevating and I wanted to like scream and I had to put my earplugs in, right? So there is the issue of just sensory overwhelm, lights, sounds, smells, touch, right? What other things do y'all experience? Like, what are some other things as a neurodiverse person do you experience? There's things like hyper focus or lack of focus. I'm a big hyper focuser. I get focused on something and I can be sat in my goblin mode, for 2 or 3 hours working, not peeing, not eating. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh God, what has happened? I'm hungry. I have to go to the washroom. Like I just get so hyper focused, which can lead to an imbalance because then I'm not eating, right? I'm not taking care of my physical needs, right? I'm not moving my body. So I'm getting stiff and sore, right? We got from Marit here, sensory overwhelm is huge. Whoops, hang on. There we go. Right. What else goes on for you? And if we think specifically in your business, right? In your business, how does this show up? Right? How does this show up? Do you avoid doing certain things because of rejection? Right? Do you avoid playing big? Right? Do you avoid, if for those that are part of the sales membership, every week I give you a challenge, a visibility challenge with a sales script. And I say, go do this thing, right? Do you avoid that? In theory, you're like, yeah, this is awesome. I can do this. But you don't actually do it because that rejection sensitivity is just too sensitive. It's just too much, right? How many times do you avoid going to a networking event, whether it's online or in person, because the overwhelm is too much, right? Even like I was a part of, actually, this is okay. I'm really curious to hear what y'all think of this and if you experience this too. I unlocked something this last month that I have struggled with my entire life, and it finally made sense. I signed up for an American Sign Language course, a queer American Sign Language course. It was just hosted by queer people and taught by queer people. There's no difference between queer ASL and regular ASL. But I signed up for it and it's brilliant. I love it. And I got to week 2 and I could feel myself starting to get overwhelmed with the curriculum and trying to fit it all in and keep up with the class. And I volunteered at once to I was like signing like my name is or whatever on camera. And then I went off camera and then it was the next person's turn. And I was like, my heart was pounding, just from doing like my name is Lindsay, right? My name is Lindsay. And just doing that. And I was like, whoa. And then I couldn't focus for the rest of the class. I was so amped up from that 2 seconds of being on camera. And then I ended up missing the 3rd week and then missing the 4th week because I couldn't keep up with the content. My brain needs to process things over and over. I need to read it, assimilate it, think about it, come back, read it again. I sometimes don't quite get it. I have to keep coming back. And so I used to think that I was not made for group activities. Like I always would find that I would drop off of, sewing lessons, ASL, multi-sport extracurricular leagues, whatever else there, swing dancing workshops. If I was in like a 6-week swing, I used to do a swing dancing workshop. I would always drop off about halfway through. And I thought I internalized it's because like I'm, lazy or I have commitment issues or I mismanage my time or I'm not a team player. But what I finally realized was I need longer time between sessions. I can't keep up with the weekly pace. It's too much for me. I get overwhelmed. I physically can't keep up. I need a 6-week class to be taught over 3 months. Right? This was huge for me to understand this So now this impacts when I think of joining things like accelerators, right? Or even when I'm running stuff now. Like it really makes me think, okay, if I'm running some sort of accelerator, maybe I'm going to do it every 2 weeks instead of every week and stretch it out for other neurodiverse baddies like me who need more time. Do you relate to that? Like it was mind blowing for me. Do you relate to that at all? I'm going to go back to your comments. Emery, I switch between hyper focus and no focus, and I'm highly sensory sensitive. Yeah, I'm super sensory sensitive. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And same thing. We're going to talk about some of the tools we can use to be helping us focus. I like to hyper focus in writing and use it to my advantage. Absolutely. When I'm in hyper focus mode, I'll work till 3 a.m. If I've got it, oh, I'm riding that wave. I'll sleep in a couple of days. I'm riding that wave. I'm getting work done, right? I go back and forth between hyper focus and not being able to focus. I'm excited about body doubling because of this. Yeah, body doubling is everything. I've been avoiding pulling the trigger on my podcast for weeks and weeks. Emery, pull the trigger. You know the next Q&A that we do for the membership. I'm going to be on your butt. All right, we got Marie. Yes, I haven't totally figured out a good recipe for my kind of networking yet. We'll get there, right? Emery, I do it. Yes. Yes. I love how I can't see the emojis, but I can picture the rocket emoji. Marie, I love doing crafts 50% of the speed of others do it. Once I figure that out, I get much more joy out of it and meditative. Absolutely. Yeah. Like that was a huge piece for me, right? So when we talk about this neurodiversity piece, so much of it is understanding yourself and the way that your brain works, the way you process, the way that, when you focus and hyperfocus, lack focus versus hyperfocus, whatever, how you network is so much of it is figuring out what works best for you and then leaning into that, right? And so one of the reasons that we can move into burnout as entrepreneurs is things like the masking, right? Masking instead of honoring where we're at and what we need. We mask to fit in, right? Networking. We mask to fit in and network a certain way, right? We mask, we're in communities where we are not able to be our full selves, our whole selves. And so we have to mask. And I'm going to say something about masking, okay? Because this is another thing where I've really been committed to unmasking the past 4 or 5 years. Like once I realized that's what I was doing, but didn't understand how I was doing it, I really committed to ripping away the mask, step at a time, piece at a time. But that kind of left me in a really awkward place where it's like I stopped being able to communicate. I stopped being able to be really relaxed in certain situations. And I could feel that I was alienating people and not being able to be present. So I don't think that masking in and of itself is a bad thing. For me, once I realized that autism piece and started going, oh gosh, I can start masking again, it really did feel like it was a comfortable, like heated blanket I was putting on myself where I felt safe again. Now, when I go out, I can use my scripts for the way that I talk to people and engage, right? I can use my rules, right? I can mask my personality, not my personality, but I can turn it on, right? And I can be who I have to be in these scenarios. But what's important is that when I come home, my mask comes off. My people that are closest to me, the mask comes off, right? And so I do think that there is benefit to masking in certain situations. And that is where we feel safe. And for me, at least, I have rules of operation. I know how to operate, right? But it's when it's constant all the time that we burn ourselves out. Or it's when we are not recognizing that we maybe have relationships or are part of communities or organizations that genuinely don't serve us and they are causing harm. Does that make sense? I want to hit pause and just talk about the masking element for a minute. Give me your thoughts. I'm going to come back and read some of your comments here. The world needs your podcast. You got this. Emery, get that podcast done. Y'all are so cute for real. I love you. I have my first episode recording planned for Tuesday with a guest. Fantastic. Fantastic. Can I tell you, podcasting with a guest is the easiest way to start podcasting because you don't got to make up all the content. You just go on and have a conversation. And the thing with podcasting too, we're going to deviate for a second while y'all put your comments in. The thing with podcasting just start with where you're at. Like when I first started, I was looking at all this fancy software and like recording studios and equipment. And I was like, yo, I'm going to go on Zoom with a mic and my webcam. And that's it. Because if I get into all this fancy technical stuff, I'm going to get so stuck and overwhelmed. I just got to start. And then as I grow, I can move into that kind of stuff. Right. So it really is just about starting. Oh, hey, what's up? Also, hi, everybody. Yes, here for your regular dose of Lindsay Tough Love. Oh my gosh, all the hearts. I'm loving it. See, now I can see these emojis. That's so weird. Unmasking is self-love. Masking is self-preservation. Yes. Yes. Masking for me is self-love as well. It is self-love because there are relationships I want to have, or there are organizations I want to be a part of from a community perspective. And this is going to sound strange. So I hope I'm going to be able to phrase this correctly. Unmasked Lindsay is a lot. And I cannot just be unmasked all the time because it can cause separation in relationship, because I bring a lot, right? There's a lot going on when I'm unmasked and just like being my freaky self. And so also for me, masking is a way to maintain relationship, especially professional relationships. And it's a way to catch myself from not being so direct that I alienate, so tough love that I cause harm. Do you know what I mean? So does that make sense? And so for me, masking is also a level of professionalism for me specifically, because otherwise I would just be like so direct, so intense, like, So yes, self-preservation. And also for me, it is also a bit of self-love and respect for others, if that makes sense. It's a complex, nuanced topic, friends. Yeah, good thought, Emery. I like the way you worded that. Absolutely. Yes, both are needed for survival. Absolutely. Yeah, still trying to embrace the messy start. Heck yeah, messy started up. Best description I've ever seen of masking. Yeah. We've got it's like you live in a glass house and the only way to hide aspects of yourself is to bury them so that even you can't see them. Well, and that's where I'm kind of that's where I'm, for myself and my own journey right now, I'm really starting to unpack, because I don't have to bury myself to mask. I used to. I was buried so deep I didn't even know who I was, right? My queerness, right? My transness or non-binariness, right? Like my neurodiversity. I was so buried I didn't know who I was. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment when we get to burnout. But now that the glasses are off, the filter is off on my eyes and I can see it, now masking becomes an empowered choice, an empowered way of operating in the world that allows me to maintain relationship. But I'm never buried. I'm never lost in that. I just know when the filter comes on and when the filter comes off. Does that make sense? We got, yes, as someone with some borderline traits, I can't just be totally unmasked. Exactly, right? It's not good for the people I love or me. Yes, totally unmasked me is raw, live wire, and that's often unsafe. You get it, right? You get it. It's like, again, is it bipolar? Is it autism? Like, is it both? Like, what is it? I don't know, but I know there's elements of me that I need to keep locked down. But you know what? The other day I was talking with a friend, actually. Okay, I swear I'm going to get into the burnout real quick. Hopefully you like these stories. Do y'all like these stories when I share them? I learn best when people tell stories, and so hopefully you love my stories. But I was having a training session with Vera Schofield, Flexibility with Vera. She's my flexibility and fitness coach, strength coach. And we were doing something, and I think I was waiting while she was explaining something, and I didn't even realize that I was like stimming. And she's like, "Oh, look at you stimming in front of me." And at first I felt embarrassed, but then I remembered that Vera and I are buds and we can be unmasked with each other, right? And so I was like, I am stimming. And then I was having a call with one of my business friends, and I got so excited about something we're working on together. I'm talking so excited, friends, that I was flapping. And I was like, this is happening. This is happening. And usually when I stim, I do little things. I do this. My teeth, right? Click, 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 click. I do this, right? Or this. Or if I need to lock it in, I squeeze my thumb, right? One thing you're going to see when I need to focus is this. You're going to see me. If I touch my chin, I'm working real hard to stay focused on what you're saying, right? But I felt myself do this and I was like, oh, this is great. This is fantastic. Oh, this feels so good. And I said, I'm going to drop my mask with you right now and you're going to see me stim. And she was like, what is happening? Because she's never even heard of that before. And I was like, it's happening. It's happening. I'm so freaking excited. I need to get this out of me. And it was so friggin' liberating. Right? What was I even talking about? What was my point? What did we say? The unsafe, right? When you're with people where it's safe, you can do that. But am I going to do that in a work setting with strangers? Probably not, because I don't know how they're going to react. And I don't, you know what I mean? So I can do the small stims. I can do the quiet stims, right? What was I just going to say? The strangers. That's another thing. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that from a burnout perspective, right? My friends or my professional friends, personal friends, romantic partners, whatever, when I have that safety and I know them and they know me, I can relax, right? But when we're around strangers, I don't know how you're going to respond to me, right? And so I have a heightened level of anxiety when meeting new people. And there's a heightened level of masking, right? While I suss out, how neurodiverse I can be around you, how open I can be around you. Does anyone else relate to that? Let's talk about that. Right? Because that is another part of the burnout in business. We're constantly meeting new people, networking, going on podcasts, right? Having new clients, exploring new opportunities, applying for grants, whatever. We're constantly engaging with people. And a lot of times it's new people. And that brings a heightened level of anxiety and a heightened level of energy expenditure, right? Masking as an empowered choice is beautiful. It's such a personal thing. Exactly. Like I always say, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. One person's mask is another person's prison. Exactly. And that's why I wanted to try to be real sensitive in the way I said that and really say, this is about me and my journey. Everybody's neurodiversity is different. Expression is different. Masking is different. Relationships are different. Situations are different. Always prioritize your safety. Always prioritize what feels good for you, right? Loving this convo. Me too. Stories help you visualize the concept. Okay, great. That thumb hole between the finger is your ASL sign for potty. That's like, is that like poop or thing? I'm trying to make a joke on like potty in my brain and masking. I can't get there though. But that is something I do when I'm needing to lock it down. Lynn's, lock it down. Shh, be quiet. Just listen, right? So if we know each other and we talk one-on-one, like if you're in the mastermind or if we hang out live on our Q&A, I'm real like gregarious and I'm talking to everybody. But if I don't know you or I'm on a group setting where I don't know people, I'm very quiet and very reserved. You all would be shocked to see me just sit there. Also, you guys, again, I'm a super neurodiverse and it doesn't always come off right away, but like I am that person when people are having a group conversation and it's that whole like the skipping rope and I'm like, when do I jump in? When do I jump in? And then I don't jump in, then the conversation's gone. And I'm like, dang it, I had things I wanted to say. Well, it's gone now. Oh gosh. This is why unmasking has been so hard for me. I feel like if I were truly to be my full self, I would hurt people. Yes, ties with the religious trauma of thinking I'm inherently bad. FML. Yeah. I'm feeling that one deep. Yeah. But let's talk about the hurting people, because that is something that I have experienced and I have done, right? Like I always think of the Big Bang Theory with Sheldon. And they say he's not autistic, whatever. Anyways, that's a whole thing. But the way that he talks to people and the way that people get hurt and offended, I do that. I do that all the time. And I'm like, God damn, I don't want to hurt and offend people. Like, Lindsay, you got to be more sensitive, right? Like I do that all the time. Right. And so there is this level of, I don't want to hurt people. So I need to just, I got to try to tone it down when I can. But this idea of thinking that we're inherently bad, and I was not raised religious, thank Zeus, but a lot of my family and friends and past partners were. And so I can see the effects of the default is that they are bad. That is the default thinking. You are bad, right? And so a huge part of not just that unmasking journey, but like the entrepreneurial journey is going to constantly sort of challenge you, if you let it, if you want it to ask yourself if you're internalizing external messaging, someone else's projections, you know what I mean? Like old tapes and beliefs. Are you internalizing harmful systems of oppression? Are you internalizing that like you're the bad one? And I did. I did and I do. That I absolutely internalize, right? And have had to stop because I always now my thing is I may not have been raised religious, but I was raised by a parent with narcissistic personality disorder and with a fair amount of emotional, mental warfare and terrorism and abuse, like a lot. And so my entire existence, it's always been my fault. Everything, right? The neighbor's house caught on fire. Somehow that's my fault. You know what I mean? Somebody's business fails. That's my fault. You know what I mean? This guy here misses the bus. And somehow it's my fault. So not just my own life things being my fault, but like everything being my fault. That is the narrative, right? And so I always first assume it's me and I've done something wrong. And I've been working on that for a few years now. And that has been insanely liberating. Poor choice of words. That has been fantastically liberating to just stop and be like, what if it's not my fault? What if it has nothing to do with you? Right? And that's still a scary place to exist for me. I'm still working on it, right? Life is a journey of work, right? But this idea of thinking we're inherently bad, you are not alone in that. And it is an opportunity to do some work, right? Trying to balance unmasking with safety is hard. 100%. Yeah, it is. It is. It's a thing that it takes years to figure out sometimes, right? Right? And I will always default to safety first. I've tried this thing in networking with new people. If it is a contact that is not vital for me, I try to be more bold with who I am. This seems to lead to a clear yes or no whether they connect more. Yeah, it's like there's less stakes, so you can just kind of put it all out there and see what happens, right? It's a great strategy. I love that. Oh, Megan, sending you big love. Yeah, I think we all felt that one, Megan. By the way, I'm still trying to grasp the expression fully. What is it to play small? Great, let's talk about that. So, playing small versus playing big. Playing small is, I think it starts with first sort of thinking small. And I don't mean being small-minded. I mean thinking, when I ask you, what is your big, bold business vision? And you say, well, I'd love to have a full client roster of, whatever, queer people figuring out their queerness, whatever. Okay, that's great. And I want that for you, but is that as big as you can think, right? Like how much can we get you to think bigger beyond just working, right? Beyond just serving clients, right? So like, I don't stop at, I want to have a membership full of this and I want to have a really cool, mastermind. Like I don't stop there. I go, I want to have the Radical Connector be an investment firm and advisory firm for service-based entrepreneurs who are ready to accelerate and go big and they need help, they need support, right? And I want to have a leg of that in my business, right? Or I want to create a nonprofit side of my business that does XYZ, or I want to be having, a published author and be touring the world talking about why entrepreneurship is going to save us all. Like I want you to think bigger, right? Because then when we think bigger for ourselves, you can also think beyond your business. I want to use my business to build my money, my connections, increase my capacity, my time, right? My resources to be able then to use that as a stepping stone to go into something totally different in my life, right? So just really kind of taking our thoughts beyond just getting more clients, right? Into really, what do I think is maybe impossible for myself, but I'm going to dare to dream it anyways and vision it anyways, right? And then that will lead to us playing bigger. right? So now when we are networking, who are we networking with that maybe intimidate us, but we want to start building these relationships to make even more cool relationships and open up doors to more cool opportunities. When I apply to go on other people's podcasts, sure, I'll start with the small ones because I'm still small, but I want to one day get on that person's podcast. So I'm gonna start working my way up the podcast ladder to get up there, right? It is this idea of daring to let yourself have big, impossible dreams for yourself, and then dare to think you can actually achieve it. And then that will influence the way that you take action in a bigger way. Even if those actions are small right now, small actions lead to huge growth, right? Leads to huge growth, right? And so it's okay to take small baby steps, but know that you are going to continue to hold a bigger vision and take bigger steps as you grow. Does that make sense? Thanks for the examples. You're welcome. So when we look at, let's talk about burnout now. And then I want to talk about how that neurodiversity burnout duo can lead to us playing small. Hang on. Like Emery starting a podcast in the near future and ending up doing a TED Talk. Exactly. Right? Heck yeah. And not even a TEDx. Start with a TEDx and then get your butt on that full-on TED Talk stage. Heck yeah. Right? What about Emery starting a podcast and getting led to be doing keynote talks around the world at $30,000 a pop? What about that? What is that like really dorky cliched saying about like your dreams should scare you? I want your dreams to scare the poop out of you. Okay, Emery, what do you got for us? So what you don't know is that I've had this dream for like 15 years before I started this biz. Yes. Yes. Heck yeah. So burnout. What is burnout? What is burnout? Do you know your signs of burnout or pre-burnout? Do you know when you're heading that way? Right? For me, I know, I will say that a precursor for me to burnout is exhaustion, right? I'm exhausted. I am stretched too thin. I am doing too much. And if I keep on that path and at that level of work, I will exhaust myself. I will burn out. 2023, you've heard me say this, it was my rest year. I was burnt out. The pandemic was wildly busy for me. I was everywhere doing all the things while also navigating a bunch of really intense life stuff, physical injuries and surgeries, and my own stress and fear of the pandemic. And everything that was coming to light in a really big way on a bigger stage at the time as well, in terms of everything that's wrong with our world. 2023, I crashed and burned. I was like, no business development, no new friends. A lot of you know, I started that whole other brand, Fantastical Fatty, which was so fun. I just was like done. I was even contemplating giving up the business. I was just done. And that's the problem with burnout, is you hit a floor that you cannot get off of. Right? Physically, it's not good, right? Mentally, it's not good. You stop caring about the things that you care about, right? You start thinking there's something wrong with you and you're never going to get it together and you're done. Like it's such a terrible cascade of mental and physical issues, right? And of course, I'm not done. I love my business. I have big friggin' dreams and a vision for what I do. And I'm so committed to getting you guys activated and empowered to go make money and change the world, right? But I can't do that when I'm burnt out. Because when I'm burnt out, all I want to do is cry and eat pizza and sleep in bed, right? So we don't want to get to burnout. So do we know the signs of when that we're getting there before we get there, right? Burnout, a state of life in late stage capitalism. I'm going to be bringing Ariana Fotinakis and her business partner on. We're going to be talking about all those kinds of things. I think we're going to do a series of different podcasts and talks. So watch for that in the new year. Oh, burnout, sign, no energy, no good sleep, nothing seems fun, lots of pressure, no focus, forgetting stuff, and critical, being annoyed with our totally perfect happy dog. Yeah. Maureen, is that a word? Is that like a Finnish word, or is that it's Finnish, right? We say Finnish? Or is that just you just making just making a bunch of letters? I really hope that wasn't insensitive. Okay. So, what are your pre-burnout signs, right? Mine are resentment. Resentment. When I start resenting everything and everyone, I know, because that's not my natural state. I know I'm spread too thin. There's too many demands on me, right? I want to cry all the time. I feel the tears behind my eyes all the time. It's like if I want to cry, if I'm really emotional, I know I'm stretched too thin. I get this like burning rock in my chest. Like it's like a burning heavy rock, right? I get this nauseous feeling, right? I can't catch my energy no matter how much I sleep. I cannot get my energy back. Right? These are the signs, again, being critical, sure, being frustrated, everything annoying me, everything pissing me off. You know that thing about like when you're at your wit's end and your coat pocket hits the door handle and pulls you back? Like it's like everything is just this, everything is the straw that breaks the camel's back, right? So what are your pre-signs? And when we think about from a neurodiversity lens, pushing ourselves to do things that are exhausting and depleting us and not refilling the energy stores, right? If you are going to a big networking event or a big gala, or like I was just at a gala a couple weeks ago or last week, if you're going to these things and you know it's going to be an energy drain, that is not in itself is not bad, right? That in itself is okay. You can manage that. But what are you doing to give yourself a buffer on the other end? Right? Because when we talk about playing small, we'll say, I'm not going to go to this event because it's going to be too much of an energy drain, even though the event could be pivotal in you getting to where you want to go with your big dreams. But we don't go because we think, well, it's going to be too much of an energy drain. Or how do you prepare? What do you do before and what do you do after? Right? Or when you're there, make a game plan. Who are the people I want to connect with? Once I'm done, I'm going to give myself permission to go. Right? I always do this thing at events where I always start saying goodbye early because I run out of capacity. My brain, for me, when I know I'm done is when I can't make words anymore. Like I can't talk. I start replacing words, like instead of saying, house, I'll say airport. Like, and to me, it's the same thing, right? Instead of saying ring light, I'll be like, reverse. Like the words kind of get jumbled in my head. They look similar, they sound similar. So I say them, and I don't even realize I've said the wrong word, right? Or I start stuttering. I can't get my point out, right? And I physically can feel it. I can feel when I'm drained and I'm done, I'm depleted. Fun fact, this is something else that I've noticed that I do. When I am overstimulated or my brain is done, I don't really like being touched, but I touch people. I will put my hand on people's hands, or I will lean into them if they're really close, like I feel close to them, like a relationship is close, right? I start touching people. It does this weird, like I'll touch their arm while we're talking. It does this weird thing where it like grounds me and allows me to stay present. Isn't that weird? All these weird quirks we discover about ourselves, right? So do you see what I'm saying about we avoid things and we play small because we think we can't do it instead of honoring that, right? Rejection sensitivity, right? We don't put ourselves out there to apply for that podcast or that summit, or we don't reach out to that person and make that introduction on Instagram or LinkedIn, right? We don't go up and introduce ourselves at a networking event because we're too intimidated because, oh gosh, what if they're like, who are you? Which, by the way, no one ever does, okay? And if they do, they got to go. That's just rude, okay? Right? That's their own insecurity, right? But we avoid putting ourselves out there because of this intense reaction to what we perceive as rejection, right? So we got to reframe that. We got to do that work around that and reframe that. Or we have to have a system in place. All right, I feel really rejected right now. Own that. Whew, I feel really rejected right now. That is hitting hard. What do I need to do? Dance it off to my favorite Taylor Swift song? Call a friend and get them to hype you up, right? It is playing small is that point in which we do not try, right? We do not try because of whatever fear is going on there or whatever self-limiting belief we have about ourselves. Me and my partner are both type A, so we have the mindset of let's get everything done and rest afterwards. Not a good strategy when starting a business. Luckily, I usually remember this. Yeah, I was just talking about that with somebody where it's like, this is why I'm always at you guys. You got to view your business in years, not months. Entrepreneurship is a marathon, a multi-year marathon, not a 6-month sprint, right? But that being said, I typically am a sprinter, right? Once I figure out something that needs to be done and where I want to go, I will be hyper focused till it's done, and then it's done. And then I'll rest, right? I used to try to be one of these people who was more like, let me work a little bit, let me play a little bit, let me work a little bit, let me play a little bit. But actually, I kind of thrive when I work, play, play. Work, play. I do, right? It's why I structure my schedule to take 2 months off a year and a week off every month, and right? So that I can be focused. And it's okay if I'm tired because I know I got a week off coming up right away, right? So if it's not a good strategy for you, fine. But let's not assume it's not a good strategy for business because you can make it work for you, right? I do the same thing with the touch. Okay, so it's not just me. It's weird because like, don't touch me though. Like, don't touch me. Like if someone touches me, I'm just like, what are you doing? Like if I'm ever sitting next to somebody, I'm always like, how can I angle my, like you're sitting on a chair. Like I don't want to be touched because I can't. The constant, them touching and moving like airplanes, like when people are like digging their, like, oh, I can't. It's so much. I have to like really be mentally like, prepared. I do a lot of visualization and getting ready for the sensation, right? Because I get real sensitive here. When people touch me, I just am like, don't touch, leave me alone. But yet, when I'm depleted, I'm like, I was watching Vera, the person I was talking about earlier, who shamed me for not watching What We Do in the Shadows, the TV, because the movie I loved, but the show I thought was kind of boring. So I'm like, all right, she shamed me or they shamed me. So I'm like, fine, I'm going to watch it. And so they have energy vampires on there. You know, has anyone seen it? The energy vampires? It's hilarious. Anyways, I feel like that's me. I'm like, let me just touch you and like suck your energy. Oh, sprints work so much better than trying to do a sprint marathon. Yeah, right? It's about finding what works for you. So relatable, other people touching you. I just can't, it just stresses me out. Like, it's just like when people touch me, like I can't, it's like I literally can't think. Like all the thoughts in my head are now right here. Right? Or like, you know when people come up, who does this? They come up and they like massage you, but they like squeeze really hard. You know, it's almost like weird old guys that do that. And it's so weird. Same with whistling. I used to just think I was a big, you know, crotchety old whatever, that I hated whistling. But now I get that's the, like, to me, whistling is the most offensive thing you can do. Okay, so how do we play small? Through neurodiversity, through burning out. Another way that we play small, I had a client once, and every time we would get to the point of getting into action, we would make the strategy, we would make the plan, and then when she'd go to get into action, the next session we'd have, she'd come back with a whole new idea and a whole new direction she wanted to go. Okay, then we'd make that out, map it out, and the next week she'd come back and it'd be a whole other strategy she wanted to do. And so I finally said, okay, listen, I have been observing this pattern of the minute that it's time to get to work, you completely switch directions. And I'm very, very careful to say, like, you don't have to tell me what's going on there, but that is an opportunity for you to reflect on that, you know, for yourself, or if you have a therapist or if you've got a business coach. And I'll happily talk about it with you. That's not always my role. And so I just want to point it out and kind of let you sit with that. Anyways, I said that and she immediately burst into tears because she knew exactly what it was. She used to be super burnt out and she was petrified of being burnt out again. So every time it was time to get into action, she just shut down. She completely shut down and switched gears to something else. Can anyone else relate to that? Can you relate to that? Right? That is an example of how burnout can lead to us playing small. Right? The fear of burning out again, the fear of burning out in the first place. Right? In my before times, way before the Radical Connector, whether it was working with my company, my family's businesses, or other side businesses that I had started that kind of didn't go anywhere, but I was playing with them early in my early 20s. You know, I would give my all, and I say this all the time. Entrepreneurship will take everything, all your money, all your time, all your energy, all your creativity. It will take everything if you let it. And I used to let it, right? And so I love working hard. I love working. I love what I do. I love creating in this space. Nobody will ever outwork me. You know what I mean? I love it. It is my hyper focus. I love it. But I can burn out if I am not careful because that is my tendency. And I remember what it was like because my other stuff, I used to do a lot of traveling for it, like a lot of traveling for it. And that stuff would burn me out. Well, of course it would. Now that I know what I know about my brain, right? And so then now I guess to that point where I avoid going to things because the thought of travel immediately makes me stressed out because I think about how exhausted I was traveling all the time. So an example of playing small, avoiding traveling because of that past experience. So we got to bring that awareness to, oh, that's why. Okay, so how can I do it that's right for me? So for example, if I'm traveling to Toronto for something, so I usually go to Toronto quite a bit, a few times a year, and I now know I need to give myself 2 to 3 days of buffer where I have no meetings because I need to give myself time to adjust the jet lag and the time zone, right? To settle in, to get grounded, right? Either that or I go in for just 2 or 3 days for a quick trip before my brain can catch on that I'm on a different time zone. Right? But it's recognizing when that is keeping us small and then thinking about how we can do it in a way that serves us. So related. Oh, I read that one already. What is this one? I can recognize the risk of starting a million things and not finishing them is playing small. Absolutely. This is why, friends, I talk a lot about the Post-it note wall, right? You don't have to act on every idea as soon as you have it, but we do want to get it out of here because it just keeps spinning around and around and around. I love colorful Post-it notes. Where are they, right? I always have colorful Post-it notes. I have a bunch of different kinds down there too. And if I have an idea, it goes on a Post-it note and it goes on the wall, right? And then it allows me when I want to have some time to just chill out or whatever, just think I can read all my Post-it notes and be like, oh yeah, I think I want to work on this. Or 2025 is coming up. Let's get to planning. I'm going to work on these 3 things, right? Put it on a Post-it note. Put it on a Post-it note. Get it out of your brain. Because and here's the thing, friends, you're going to learn this after like 5 years in business. You're going to take action on like 5% of the ideas that you have because your ideas are going to start to be profitable and successful and you're going to want to see them through and run with them. And you're going to realize this is a great idea, but I'm going to let someone else do this. Has anybody here read the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert? No. Yes? Elizabeth Gilbert? Yeah. Elizabeth Gilbert. Right here. Big Magic. This is a great book. And she talks about that. She talks about how like ideas are their own living entity that want to be born, that want to come into the world. And if you don't do it, someone else will. And that's okay. Multiple people will, right? You don't have to act on every single idea you have. And in fact, you won't, right? So put it in a Post-it note, put it on the wall, and you see 1 year, 2 years from now, how important is that to you, right? I want to get you something really quickly. Hang on one quick second. You know how I was like, oh, being organized. Normally I'd have all these links already ready, but I didn't get there this week. Let's talk about that for a second. There's being organized, there's being prepared, and there's also giving yourself permission to just be on the fly. If that's where you're at right now, it's fine. So the link I just shared was for Big Bold 2025. As I was talking about, this is my giant planning session. This is the 3rd year we're doing this. And we spend 4 hours together. We sit on Zoom, we hang out. I have a whole worksheet flow I get you to go through. And this is where you map out the year. Is there anything I'm, launching or creating? What is my promotional schedule looking like? What are my marketing strategies? What are my sales goals, right? And so this gives you the chance to like map it all out for the year. I don't get you to map so granular that your whole marketing thing is done for the year, because things are going to change. That would be too overwhelming. But it's the high level stuff and some of the granular things to allow you to, number one, see where you're taking on way too much. And you can spread that out. Maybe some of this moves to 2026, right? It allows you to have a work back schedule for the date. Like you have to complete this by January, complete this by February, complete this by March. So it takes it out of here and it lets you stop panicking about all the things you have to do because you have a plan for the year. If you can join us, please join us. What is it? It's $250 or 2 payments of $125 Canadian. So come and join this if you haven't already. It's like I said, it's our third one. The people that have been coming every year are like, oh yeah, this is an essential part of my business planning. So go and get yourself registered for that. And my point with this thing of having all these ideas is and looking at your business as a marathon, not a sprint, as a multi-year marathon, that is going to help with the burnout. Because if you try to do too much too fast, you will burn out. You can only do so much, and that's okay. Like check in with yourself. Are you putting unreasonable expectations on yourself? Are you expecting like robot level of productivity on yourself? Are you forgetting that you are a human with like relationships and a life outside of your business, right? Are you forgetting that just because you have 8 hours to work on something, your brain might be good for 4 and then it's going to be done? I do that all the time. I got 8 hours. Let's go. Or I'll be like, I have a whole week to work on this stuff. And then by Wednesday, I'm like, I know that now. So now I plan for that, right? But like, are you putting completely unreasonable expectations on yourself and then forcing yourself to push beyond your capacity and burning out? Okay. If you are, how can you stretch out your goals and do a really good job on what you've got, take action, execute, and get it going, right? You don't have to act on every idea you have. Oh shit, my ADHD hates that. Yes. What? Unreasonable expectations? Never. Me? Never. All the type A's out there. How many people are like Capricorns too? Or like Sagittariuses? Like Taurus? People who are like real like goal oriented, real folk, like oh gosh. Okay, so neurodiversity, check. Burnout. Do you know your signs and symptoms? Do you know how to pull back? What do you need to do to pull back? Do you know how to prevent it in the first place? That is the stretching out the timeline. That is the doing less, right? That is the getting focused, creating a plan, sticking to the plan, doing less, right? If we get to that point of burnout, which I don't want you to get to, because that could take, they say, up to 2 years to fully recover from that. Nobody needs that, right? And this is where I'm going to give you some tough love right now. Like, yes, I'm a busy person. Yes, you're a busy person. If you have a full life, you're a busy person, right? But there's a difference between being busy and being delusional. Let me say what I mean, okay? Being busy and like being busy for the sake of what? Of more busy work, of extra things you don't really need to do, of unreasonable expectations, right? I want you to be busy, but being busy doing things that you love. So busy with your business, yes, but busy with your friends, busy with reading by the fireplace, busy with going on hikes, busy with giving yourself time to just stop and think, right? Busy playing with the dog. Be busy, but fill it with things you like. Don't let it only be about your business, and don't let it be about overworking yourself. Right? What is this? What? No, tell me this is so. Shoshana, hey. I was going to say, hey, baby, but I think that's probably inappropriate. But hey, my love. Well, like, we're not in a relationship. I just love y'all. Hey. We're in a platonic professional relationship. How are you? Scheduling rest, period. Yep. So much rest, passive and active, from tiny breaks to long enough holidays. Yep. I am way too tired to be busy with no purpose. Legit. Busy with no purpose. Emery, busy with no purpose. It's exactly it, right? I love being busy, but there's a purpose. Rest is a purpose. Works for you. Mutual adoration. Yep. With all of y'all. Mutual adoration all around. So, don't burn out. If we burn out, you need to give yourself rest. And this is the thing where y'all get real mad at me. I've worked a few times with entrepreneurs. I have a session with someone today, entrepreneurs who are burnt out. They've hit the wall. They're done. And why you all hate me when I work with you in that capacity is because I don't let you work. I don't let you work. Because here's the thing you all want. You all want a quick solution. You're like, let me have a sleep for 3 days and I'll get back to it. Well, I got to work on something. I got to do something. And so what is the first thing I say? You got to put things into status quo. You can take what's coming at you if you want it. You can work on the clients you have, but you got to go status quo. We got to go survival mode for your business for a while because you need to work on you. You need to calm the nervous system, right? You need to heal and you need to build yourself back up, right? There's a reason that you're burnt out. That's what needs to be addressed, right? So you're going to hate it if you get to burnt out because the first thing I'm going to tell you is you're not allowed to work and you're going to hate that. So don't burn yourself out. Easy, right? What I really need is someone with chronic illness, What I really need is someone with chronic illness, a business, a relationship, and a child to tell me how the F to keep up with all of that without burning out within capitalism. Burn the system down. Yeah. This comes into expectations. This comes into expectations and being realistic with capacity. This also comes down to saying no to a lot and reserving your yeses for the things that will move the needle on what's important to you. Health, family, business, whatever that is, right? No one that whole everyone has the same 24 hours, that is utter hogwash. That is absolutely not true, right? And so we cannot compare our 24 hours to somebody else's. I don't have kids. I don't have chronic illness that debilitates me. I mean, there's things that I don't have that would allow me to do even more that I wish I had, but I can do a lot. And so I do a lot, right? And that is a huge privilege. If you don't, you can't compare yourself to other people. You have to go, what do I have to work with? Let me work with that. And here's what's really important. And this is going to be sensitive to say, but it's also really important that we don't resist our reality. We don't spend our precious energy resenting it, being mad about it, wishing it were different, trying to force it to be different. And I know that's like an awkward thing for me to say. And I want to be so sensitive and respectful when I say that. But the more that we deny our reality and fight ourselves on it, we're just wasting precious energy. If we can get to a place of, at the very least, neutrality and then start saying no to the things that there's just no capacity. No, they don't matter. There's just no capacity. And saying yes to the things that will move the needle to what's important to us, we're already going to help to give ourselves focus and alleviate, I hope, some of the noise and the exhaustion happening up here. And maybe even get to a place of joy around it, which I know is not always easy, but joy is an act of resistance. I don't know. Does that make sense? Whoops, hang on. Holding my torches, ready to roll. Yup. This is why with my email that I said, right, and Shoshana, thank you for your response. Everybody that responded, thank you for your response. But what I said, first we have to get okay. Then we have to get secure and connected with each other, try to get ourselves out of where we're at and then collectively work to shift these systems, to dismantle these systems. And that's what everyone's been doing for generations and will continue for generations. And so we have to also remember that this is a generational thing. So where am I at right now? What can I do right now until I'm old enough that I'm going to pass the torch to the next generation who's doing their bit, you know? Marie, thank you for that. People have different 24 hours, 100%. Yeah. This finally realized my shame and trauma is not a wound that will heal. It's a chronic illness I have to live with that comes with so much grief, but also a hell of a lot of freedom. Exactly. And that's where I don't want to be flippant and say that that's not very real, to have that grief and that frustration and all those feelings. And also to stay in those feelings isn't serving us. It's hurting us. So can we get out of that to at least a place of neutrality, love and accept where we are, what we're working with, right? And then move the needle in a way that works for us, right? Yeah. Yeah. Rest is also an act of resistance, right? Yes. So playing small. I want you all to take a moment right now. Tell me in the comments if you want, or at least write it down, and tell me, where do you think you might be playing small? Remember, we talk kind of thinking small and how that leads to us playing small, right? Where we might be playing small and where we might be sort of indulging in those limiting beliefs instead of figuring out how we can make whatever limitations we have work for us. Does that make sense? Where we are letting ourselves off the hook or giving ourselves an excuse instead of finding a way to work with it. And I want you to also think about, where you need that mindset shift to go from sprint to marathon so you can stop running yourself into the ground. Give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts in the comments. Write them down on your own paper. I'm going to look at my notes. Look at my notes while we wrap things up. Emery, being a chicken to offer my services in German. First of all, let's stop the name calling. And let's call it what it is. I'm going to push y'all for a second. Saying something like being a chicken, that's just lazy. Say what it is. Intimidated, nervous, unsure, insecure, afraid. Don't name call. Name the feeling, right? Because now we got something to work with, right? So what is the feeling? What is the reality? What is the self-talk here for you, right? Without insulting yourself, please. You are anything but a chicken. I don't know if anyone else wants to tell Emery that. Anything but a chicken, right? Because when we can say things like, I am nervous about offering my service in German because XYZ. So something I can do is ABC, right? When we label ourselves, I'm a chicken. I know I'm really harping on you here, Emery. Thank you. When we label ourselves, I'm a chicken, we stop. We stop the thought process. Instead, I want you to, what is it that you're feeling? Why are you feeling it? What can you do? Let's empower ourselves. Hang on, where'd you go? I'm sorry. You came for the tough love. I don't know what to say. I knew Marie would have your back. All right, Megan, I'm playing small in my physical health and in my boundaries. I'm just devoting all my time and energy to my biz because it's easier. Ooh, so kind of like hiding in your business where your physical health and your boundaries might need some work. Is that what you're saying? Love that. Love the self call out too. Fantastic. So if you want to share with us, what would it look like to play big in your physical health and play big in your boundaries? What would that look like? I have this hair that's tickling me and I can't decide where it wants to go. What would playing big look like? Making various plans and not following through. For instance, offering a YouTube channel. First of all, what would your YouTube videos be about? And yeah, making various plans and not following through. I'm curious if you experience this, but I get you guys. I get so overwhelmed so quickly. The thing with being a super strategic thinker is the minute I have an idea, I'm immediately running through all the strategies, all the potential, this path, and I get overwhelmed real quick, right? So playing small would be saying, I'm too overwhelmed, I can't do this. You know I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to give myself a few days to run every what is it called? Scenario, play out every scenario, run it through every couple for a few days, let myself be overwhelmed, sleep on it for a bit, come back and go, okay. So I'm overwhelmed about this because, I'm overwhelmed with all the potential possibilities that I can do and all the tech and all the stuff around this. So what I need to do is I need to start with the smallest first step. What is that first step? Let me do it. Right? We don't just stop at the limiting belief. We don't just stop at the fear. All right? We don't just stop at the emotion. We got to go underneath. Why? What can I do? Shoshana, what are the stories that you have about what it would mean to offer your services in German? Exactly. I wasn't going to go that deep. I figure y'all can go in the chat. You can go in the chat. So I'm going to leave you to your conversation. I might come back if we've got time, but I don't want to ever put anybody in a position of having to be super vulnerable here because this is public, right? And so I don't want to open up a can of worms and leave you all kind of holding the bag of raw emotion as we log off. The Neuro Curiosity Club. Oh, this is to Megan. Yeah. That's you guys are having a little chat. I'll let you do your thing. Savara, my YouTube would be about manifestation, harnessing your own power. I love it. So what is the first step that you can take in starting to get your YouTube channel off the ground? The very first step. And if you want, you can write out the first 3 steps. But I like to go with just the first step. Because otherwise the first 3 steps leads to the first 10, leads to the first 100, and boom, we're back to being overwhelmed. So what is the first single step that you can take? Right? And by the way, there is no wrong step. There is no wrong step. Just what is the one that is for you? For me, I tend to do research. So I would probably go look at other channels similar to what I want to do and see what kind of stuff they're making, right? Or I might talk to other people I know who have a YouTube channel and ask for their tips. Or I might go look for a course on how to get started on YouTube or watch free videos on YouTube about how to get started on YouTube. There's lots, right? Or take to ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, how do you recommend I get started on a YouTube channel? Can you please guide me through the process of setting a YouTube channel up? Right? Emery, I could take another class and go up a level. Oh, sorry, that's for the conversation you all are having. I'll leave you to it. Megan, playing big in my boundaries would be figuring out how to interact with my parents without feeling like I'm dehumanizing myself, but also not trying to earn their love or something. Oh, parents. Playing big in my boundaries would be figuring out how to interact with my parents without feeling like I'm dehumanizing myself. Yeah. Yeah. What's a great book you can read? Talk to Emery. Have you and Emery had a conversation around this yet? Right? What is a great podcast you can listen to? Right? And maybe I don't know the situation with your parents, but a lot of times it's, we talk a lot about emotionally immature parents, right? Being raised by emotionally immature parents. So maybe you get a book or you follow some TikTok creators or Instagram creators that talk about this, right? Emery, feeling with the frustration with the different languages. Megan, playing big in my physical health would look like working out 3 times a week, eating a goddamn vegetable every now and again, and walking every day. Damn, that's a lot. That's a lot. Can you start with a 10-minute walk every day and adding vegetables to your dinner? Start small. Change is incremental until it becomes exponential, right? Start small. We give ourselves too many things to do, and come on, you're neurodiverse. You know that your brain is going to burn out on that. Dang it. Do a daily walk at 10 a.m. Pick a time of day, whether you wrap up your day, you go after lunch, you go before breakfast, and just make it 10 minutes. I always give myself a really easy small goal that I know is not going to stress me. And then when I say to myself, oh, I can walk further, I say no. I honor my boundaries. You said 10 minutes, go home. 10 minutes, right? Because you also got to prove to yourself that you can trust yourself. is that what happens is you'll say, oh, I can go longer today, and you'll go longer. And then tomorrow you won't want to go longer. And then you'll beat yourself up because yesterday you could, and then you'll give up. Brains are the worst. All right, you guys are having a convo. You're having a convo. I'm going to leave you to your convo. All right. All right. Does anybody want to talk to me? No, I'm just kidding. I love that y'all are having convos. I've created the channel, but I need to overcome my stage fright of being on video. Yeah. You do. Do you want to? Can you? It's only questions you got to ask her. Do I want to? Ask yourself. I didn't finish my sentence. Do I want to? Am I able to? Yes and yes. Great. Just do it. No, I say that and I truly mean that. People who do podcasting and YouTube will say the same thing every time. Just start. Just start. You're going to look back on your old content and be like, "Oh, that was rough." That's the point. Just start. Just start. You will not think your way out of stage fright. Right? You have to do. Yeah, parents and boundaries is a huge theme. Oh, you guys have definitely talked. Yeah. Yes. Emery, recommend those podcasts. Recommend those books. I'm so ready for this parent convo. Oh my God. Do we have to have a convert? I feel like do we have to have the parent conversation? Because I feel like, can I tie that back to entrepreneurship? How being raised by emotionally immature parents is messing up your business? That might have to be a podcast episode where we'll do a YouTube live and turn that into a podcast, and I'll bring on somebody who is an expert at emotionally immature parents. If that person is you, email me or reach out on social. All right. Yeah, I can also echo everything you said. Taking care of my body and health is the thing that continuously falls off my overfull plate. Yep. Friends, okay, you know what's so funny? I used to say that for myself, and then for the past 2 years, that's been not true at all. Our nutrition, our exercise, our sleep, our social lives. First things to go, right? First things to go is exercise. Next is nutrition. Next is sleep, right? Then social life. It's the first thing to throw out the window. And this is why I say our businesses will take all of us, and we cannot let it. So we have to do less and focus on less and do what we're doing strategically and well, and focus on the things that will move the needle, not being busy in our business for business or for busyness sake, right? And then we have to make space for our whole selves, including eating well, getting sleep, moving our bodies, and having a social life, right? I have been super duper focused on that for the past couple of years. That's not an issue for me anymore. I go to the gym a few times a week, my powerlifting, right? Or I work out at home, or I've been working out with Vera every week for the last year, right? I eat 3 meals a day plus a snack. I plan what I'm going to eat. I eat really simply, like it's literally like eggs and toast, tofu stir fry. Like I eat like tuna fish or like pasta. Like I eat so simple. I don't do a lot of cooking. I don't like cooking. I don't really cook. I have a lot of raw whole foods, vegetables, and like I eat a lot of really healthy raw whole foods, but I don't do like big dinners, you know what I mean? Or big lunches. I just keep it simple because that's just how I like to eat and how I hate to cook, right? So whatever that looks like for you, you need to eat, you need to sleep, you need to move your body, right? And so this is why, like, when I have people, and actually I have a blog on this. Let me quickly grab the blog, friends. I have a blog on time blocking, and I always get you all to put your life non-negotiables into your schedule before your business goals or your business to-do list. Hang on. There it is. Super simple time blocking. So the first thing I get you to do is put in the non-negotiables. I got to pick up the kids. I have date night with my partner. I go to the gym, right? Like you put in your life non-negotiables first, and then you put your business stuff around that. That also helps you realize when you're doing too much, and it forces you to get real focused on your business building activities. Oh, good. I'm so psyched you guys are going to connect. All right. Start with the walk. I actually I'm actually doing okay with the veggies. As long as I cook them, they're manageable. Do you know what I do? I need to tell you the level of my efficiency. I have a big ass measuring glass, and my freezer is full of frozen vegetables, and I just throw frozen vegetables in the measuring glass, and I throw it in the microwave for a few minutes, stir it, throw it back in, put some salt, maybe some garlic powder and pepper, and then that's what I eat. That's it. I eat that with food, sometimes just as a snack. Just as a snack, I eat that, or I have it with my dinner. Or like my dinner, like if I'm having lunch or dinner, I just cut up tofu, I put in vegetables, and then I usually mix it at the end with like some yogurt and hot sauce, and it makes like a yummy sauce. It's so, I don't even want to say lazy. It's so efficient. And I'm getting all these vegetables and all these things, and I feel really good and energized. I just microwave frozen vegetables. It doesn't have to be fancy. I did roast a yam the other day, and then I kind of would cut that into pieces and eat that for the next few days. I like squash and stuff, so I'll cook up a squash, and then I'll just have a little bit every day. Yeah, it does not have to be complicated, friends. Yeah, need to build trust with ourselves, 100%. That was to the walking. Need to overcome stage fright with recording videos for my godchild. Good audience. There you go. The other thing too is just record things just for yourself. Like you can go live on all social media channels, just private. You can record videos by yourself, right? Being comfortable on camera is a skill. Being good on camera is a skill. So even if we take away the word stage fright, if we just take away this word stage fright and say, like, oh, I've realized I'm a little bit uncomfortable and I don't quite know where to look or what to say, or I'm very overly conscious of my voice or my hand movements or whatever. Like, just call out what it is for you that's going on and be like, okay, so what do I got to do? Do I need to watch some YouTube videos on how to be better on camera? Do I need to just practice and give myself the grace to be kind of a weirdo for a while, right? You're not going to ever think your way out of these things. You got to go out there and practice. Definitely parents and business is a theme that works. I just don't know if I want to rip off that Band-Aid. I don't want to open that can of worms. Yeah, Emery, we could probably do a really fun podcast. Reach out to me, okay? All right. If you do a small group talk, I can join. Yeah, we can. Well, and we can even make that like if one of you brings that up for the next for my hot seat business coaching, right? Folks who are part of the membership are able to submit questions, right? The public can absolutely watch it and engage in the chat, but actual members can submit questions, and that can be a question that you submit and we can get into. Yeah. Okay. I'm happy to chat about how insecure attachment with parents translates to insecure attachment with your biz and your community as a customer. See, I knew I needed an angle. Thank you. Great. We can do that. That would be a great one. Yeah. Maybe we need to have a panel. Maybe instead of a single YouTube guest, I'll do a panel on that. We used to do HelloFresh, but it got too expensive. I miss it. Ooh, I hated HelloFresh. You know why? Everything was so salty. I tried so hard to like it. And I like the clear cooking instructions and whatever. It is expensive. But everything was salty. And I would even not use all the spices, and it would still be so salty. I was like, this is too much. I like simple food. What did I just tell you, friends? I told you I microwave frozen vegetables. That's what I told you. Like, can you tell? I like simple things. Sleep, you figured out. We need to wrap up. Sorry, guys. My sleep used to be terrible, but then I had a baby and people said to sleep when the baby sleeps. So I did. And that was actually more sleep than I was getting before. A lot of people talk about that once they have babies, that they start to sleep real well. Real well. I love booking my holidays and free time and lunch with a permanent pen and using it erasable for business stuff. Brilliant. I love that. I do veggies the same way. Good. I'm glad it's not just me. Yeah, the panel I think would be really fun. HelloFresh is an awful company. Oh gosh. I mean, honestly, this is what in my email I talked about that about not being a business that exists outside the interest of capitalists means that you can build your business based on your values and with business practices that are aligned with your values, right? All right, friends, we are going to wrap us up. This has been an awesome conversation. Let me send some links for you. What's coming up? Okay. We have our Our YouTube live next week, our fireside chat is with Karina Wisdom. We're going to be talking about money mindset shifts for new entrepreneurs, specifically making the journey from sort of corporate employee to entrepreneur. Some of the really important money mindset shifts you need to make. Karina will be sharing her stories and some tips for us. So you can go register for that. Again, please, I have updated the emails with the proper link to come join us on YouTube here. Just remember, if for some reason you get a link that is broken or not working, just come to my YouTube channel. You will find us, okay? I'm working on it. All right, what else is happening? Year-end debrief is coming up next month. So if you haven't saved your seat for that yet, please do. This is the precursor to our Big Bold 2025. This is free to attend, and this is where we go through 15 different year-end questions to really understand what happened in your business this year. This is our 5th annual year-end debrief. And again, it is a crowd favorite. I think we spent 2 hours, and it will be incredibly eye-opening. You're going to love it. Most importantly, you're going to also really see how much you have accomplished this year and all the amazing things you did, because y'all do not give yourself enough credit. Do not give yourself enough credit for all the things you create and do and accomplish. This is, of course, the link to our Ick Free Sales membership. If you are not already a member, get your butt in there. I will share the link to my mastermind. Friends, if you are interested in joining my mastermind, you can come check that out here. That is like next level. So come and join that, or it's an application only. You can apply for that because I want to make sure you're ready for it. What else do I have for you? You know what? I'm going to share the link from, can I do this? I want to share the link from this week's live with Liz Wilcox on email marketing. It was fantastic. And otherwise, we have a lot going on. So make sure you're on my email list. If you're not already on my email list, let me grab you that. This is the link to my Ick Free Sales scripts, and we'll also get you on my email list so you can come and join, and then just stay abreast of all the cool things that are happening. Shoshana, yes, thank you. And I know you've been busy on Tuesdays. We've missed you so much. Yeah, the mastermind is really for folks who kind of they've got revenue coming in, they've got things kind of ticking along, and they're ready to really just really go. Like we're playing big, we're taking big swings, right? And want to do it within a really super supportive community. We meet every Tuesday. We get shit done. So yeah, check out that. Yeah, Liz gave fantastic tips. It was a great podcast. I felt a little bit bad because it was the morning when we all had the election results. And she's, of course, American. And while she doesn't publicly talk about politics, I mean, she was definitely upset. And we were both sort of really low energy and just like, boof. And we're like, we even talked, we're like, should we address it? No, we're not going to address it. Okay, let's just get into it. And we were both just like, come on, let's dig in. Let's go. And I know my intro when I first came on was rough because it was just like we were all in the fields. But the conversation is fire. It just was a bit of a rough start. Thank you so much, Shoshana. Yay. All the value of Lindsay and the wisdom of the group community that's growing there. Yeah, it's a really good group. I love our group. I know. No more Tuesday gigs. Get your butt back in there. Okay. All right, friends. I think, what's this? Such a challenging day. Yeah, it was a challenging day. I'm not even going to talk about it. We know. We know. Yeah, Emery, we'll see you soon. We're saying goodbye. We'll see you soon. I got to bounce too, as I got a meeting here in about 20 minutes. So I actually had brought I'm out of Coke Zeros, friends, but I got a Diet Pepsi. Someone gave me a Diet Pepsi, so I'm going to have some of this. I want a little caffeine in the noggin, have some lunch and get into my day. You guys have all been amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out today. For those watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay. All the links are there to come and join us for all the things coming up. And when in doubt, get on the email list and you'll get the emails of things that are coming up. All right, friends, you are the best. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will see you online next week. All right. Bye, everyone. Love you platonically.